everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Tina Williams and I do watercolor art. And today we are going to be doing a foggy painting. It's an easy one. I know I keep saying these paintings are easy, but I'm purposely trying to find easy stuff to do. So the first thing we have to do is it's gonna be wet on wet, and that is the number one ticket to watercolor fog is wet on wet. So just get your watercolor paper wet, and I framed mine with tape just because I want clean edges. You don't have to do that. It was a preference I had at the moment. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It just depends on my mood. So I am literally doing this entire painting with just two colors. It is Payne's Gray and Black. Those are the two colors that I'm using for the entire thing. It is Dr. P.H. Martin's Hydrus watercolor in the Payne's Gray and the Black. And the Black is called Carbon Black. So all I'm doing is I have a little bit of the Payne's Gray in one of my little slots and then a little bit of the black in my other slot. And it's really watered down. I'm just kind of dabbing around the top edge. And I'm going to go ahead and take one of my washcloths and dry washcloth and also dab that because I want a little bit more blended. So that's a little bit of a trick to do if you want your fog or anything to look more blended, is just take the cloth and dab it, and it does lift most of the color. So that's got to be your goal in the end, is to have that lifted. So I've fast forwarded a bit. Can you imagine if I painted this fast? My goodness. I take my time. I dab, and I'm using a round brush from Dugato, and I'll put the link for everything down below, of course. But now I am doing it, and I haven't waited for my paper to dry or anything, so it's still wet. I want the wet paper because it's going to help pull colors, which is what we want. And in the middle, I am doing more of the Payne's Gray and Black, and the reason why is because that's where the center of my painting is going to be. And then I'm drawing this bottom part because it's my shoreline. So it's going to be trees reflecting onto a lake. And so I wanted a very clean line at the bottom there. So I just used my cloth to do that. And then while the paint is still wet, I am drawing my trees. So the reason I'm not waiting is because I want it to spread, and that spreading of the paint is what is going to give that illusion of fog. And here is your trick. The more wet the paper, the more it's going to spread. So if you want to have more foggy look, add more water. If you want less fog, use less water. And I'm going to have different depths, which you also want with a foggy scene, because when you see fog, it's like parts of it are thicker than the other. And when you're looking at a scene or a landscape, the further away it is, the less you can see. It's almost blurry because of the fog. So that's the illusion we're going for here. And as you can see, my trees are not clear, which is what I'm going for. As you can see, you can't see. As you can see, you can't see. I am just doing one line down the middle and basically zigzagging. That's my tree. I mean, I almost feel like I'm a fraud because it's like, really? That's it? That's all you did? But that's it. That's a tree. So that's your tree. I'm a woman of many words. I'm a little delirious, I think. But anyways, as you can see, the tree in the background is a little bit more blurry than the tree in the foreground. And I'm okay with that. That's what I wanted. I wanted to look like the one in the background was a little bit more in the background, important to the fog. And The one in the foreground, I obviously did not want it to be as much as the background. I'm doing another one now, and this one is really blurry, which I wish I had left, because when I was first doing this, I was like, God, that's just a blob of paint. But I don't know, I wish I had left it. So I'm just going to keep doing these. Now, as you can see, I did a couple of little trees in the blurry version, and now I'm doing some here. I don't know if I would say this is blurry. It's kind of somewhere in the middle of blurriness. I know this is some serious skills we're talking about here. But it's, and I'm doing, I would say it's, the ratio is more Payne's gray than it is black. In fact, I'm painting this tree, I painted a tree where I said I wish I had left it, and it was more black, and it just irritated me. It was just the tree that was the bane of my existence, and it just did not want to cooperate and really wanted to. This one, look, it's black. I don't know why. It just would not cooperate with me. I did not want it to be black like this. I want it to be Payne's gray like the other one. And you're probably thinking, so why do you have black? I don't know. That's a very good question. So anyways, it didn't quite look as nice as I wanted it to look, but it's fine. It's fine. I will be okay. So as you can see, there's some really faded trees in the background, and then this one I let dry a little bit more. So this one really kind of stands out a little bit more as being in the foreground. And I'm just zigzagging, and that's your tree. The zigzags, that's it. One line, and then it's like making a cone. Thinner on the top, and it gets thicker at the bottom, like a Christmas tree. And I'm just now noticing this, but the trees on the left, the branches go up, and the trees on the right, the branches go down. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive, based on my Christmas shopping experience, that those are two different types of trees, which I clearly did not think through. And considering I've been staring at this thing dry for a few days now, and I'm just now noticing that I did not put any thought into it. I don't know why. So I'm thinking, like, which do you prefer? I know my Christmas trees kind of droop down, and I like that. I don't know why, but I do like that droopy down. It is almost July, and I am sitting here talking about Christmas trees. But it's 110 degrees outside. So maybe this is a coping mechanism for me. Maybe this is how I survive the heat. I paint fog and cold scenes and Christmas trees. Isn't that the nice thing about art, is it can help you just completely escape whatever it is you're doing. Kind of like a book, right? This is what we do as a book. So I'm just doing the same thing over, just creating more of a scene, more blending, more blurriness, more blobs. And I think that I'm mad at this tree. I'm still trying to add blue, and it's like, no, you shall not add blue. It is black. So, and black popped through. So now I'm adding the shoreline, and it is going to reflect into the water. And I guess looking at this, you can't really tell, is it snow, is it fog? But I mean, you get scenes with snow and fog together, right? I live in the desert, so I don't really know the answer to that question. Does fog and snow go together? I feel like it does. I don't know. Anyways, I'm adding the shoreline, which is horizontal, and then I'm going to add the reflections of the trees. And this is, again, wet on wet, so kind of the same way we did the upper half of the painting. We're going to do the same thing here, exact same thing. I'm taking the rag and blurring a little bit of it out, because I want the focus to be on the center of this painting. I purposely do not want it to be the whole painting, so I want it to just draw your eyes towards the middle. If you want to, of course, you can make the whole painting a thing, but I wanted the edges to just be blended out, if that makes sense. So I'm just doing a couple of layers of this really light wash, and then I take my cloth and I dab a little bit just to create that foggy effect, if that makes sense. So I'm doing a little bit more fog because there's fog. You can't see any perfect shorelines, right? Which makes sense. And then I'm going to basically do the same thing I did on the top. It's a mirror image, so you literally are going to mirror it. But because it's water, it's not going to be as clear as the top part. So it's just a really light, I kind of just do the really light Payne's gray and dab it throughout, just to create that illusion of a reflection. It's one of my favorite things to paint is trees reflecting onto water. I enjoy it. Over here on the right, I'm just doing kind of a more solid shoreline that doesn't reflect because, I don't know, maybe there's snow or something. I just want people to wonder what happened. So now I'm just taking a really light wash and going through and adding a little bit more fog, blurring it out a little bit, just kind of getting it to where I wanted it to be. So just adding some details here and there. And then I'm going to remove the tape and that's going to be it. So do me a favor, if you feel like you got something out of this video and you think that others might, go ahead and hit the like button, because that will help push it up for others to see it. And if you've been wanting to learn about fog and you feel like this helped you with that, then I would so greatly appreciate that. So here's your finished piece, and I did a little mock-up with it in a frame just to see what it would look like. So thanks for joining. If you guys have any special requests, leave it in the comments below.